We will, of course, get into what Hugh led the show off with today, which was, boy, Hugh is a WIP host. I'll tell you that. Hugh has acclimated fine. So, as the A.J. Brown continues, and here we go again. It seems like over the last 24 or 48 hours, there has been an opinion that has evolved that I've heard on WIP. I've heard from some callers. I've seen there's a guy from The Athletic that wrote a whole thing about it that, I'm on AJ's side here, and he is correct. AJ is correct in what he said about the offense. And I think the people who are saying that he is correct in what he said, and if this is you, I think you are incorrect in what you're saying, is that A.J. Brown may be correct in what he said. The facts might be true, but you are missing the point in that he may be correct, but it still isn't right to say it. It's not right because it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change any of what he wants to change. It doesn't change the offense. It doesn't change the coaches. It doesn't change who the quarterback is. It doesn't alert anyone to anything that didn't know any. We all know, right? He has said that he has said it to the coaches. He has said it in the meeting room. So maybe he thinks Jalen stinks. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't want Jalen to be the quarterback. Maybe he's right. Who knows? Maybe he's right. Doesn't matter. Jalen's the quarterback. It's not helping anything. All it's doing is making Jalen's job harder. It makes Nick Sirianni's job harder. It makes Kevin Patullo's job harder. So he may be correct, but he's not right to say it. We went back when we talked about Dave Dombrowski, talking about Bryce Harper and, would he be elite again? He was correct. Was he right in saying it? I think we all agree, probably not. Let me put it to you this way, in like being correct and being right. Because A.J. Brown, again, may be correct, but I don't think he is right. We all know, I think we'd all agree, no matter how good we think Jalen Hurts is or isn't, there's some limitations to Jalen as a passer, right? That would be a fair, normal thing to say. However, if Nick Sirianni got up on the podium after a game and said, our quarterback's pretty limited in what he can do as a passer, it would be insane. It would be insane. Just because something is correct doesn't mean that you should say it out loud in every opportunity you get it. Should AJ say those things privately to his teammates, to his coaches? Sure. How about this? Here's a personal life instance. Your wife comes down and says, "Do I look fat?" No! I don't care if she's 400 pounds. Well. No. There are right times to say things and there are wrong times to say things. He is not saying these things to fix them. He's saying these things because it makes him feel better. But it doesn't do the offense any good. It doesn't do the team any good. It doesn't do the coaches any good for him to say it. He is getting it off of his chest.
Right.
He is doing it every single week in a different way, whether he gets the ball or doesn't get the ball. Yep. So again, the people that saying he's right and he's correct and he has a point, we've heard his point over and over and over again. Whether you agree or disagree with his point that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you go on Twitch, on a random Twitch stream, and say they should trade you on fantasy football because you're not getting any targets. That might make you feel better, which is what he's saying, but it makes everybody else feel like worse, So that's my point, is that when you're saying you're siding with AJ, you're not saying, what you think you're saying is you're siding with AJ because he's right about the offense. What you're really saying is that you should criticize your teammates and coaches in public at every opportunity if you don't think the offense is good enough. And that is not the right thing. We wouldn't accept that from anybody else on the team.
No, I agree. And also I think it's short-sighted.
Sure.
And it's misguided. You brought up a lot of good points there. I'll just add to that because I agree with you. I don't know if it changes anything. So why do you keep doing it? Like, the idea you don't feel like you're involved enough in the offense. It was that way last year. They still went on to win the Super Bowl. So I know after a 10-7 win, everybody, it's easy to jump to that side of the argument and be like, hey, he's right about the offense. He's right about that. But what about when they put up the most points they had all year or had the best offensive output they had in the games prior to that, or the game in Minnesota where he caught 2 touchdowns and had the game-clutching catch at the end of the game. Wasn't happy then either. It's use me, but don't use me, something that he tweeted out. Right? So it's not just in a 10-7 game this happens. It's happening every other week. Really, whenever he speaks, the only time it doesn't happen is when he doesn't speak.
Well, the Vikings game was the best passing game of the year.
Jalen had a perfect quarterback rating, and we still got a tweet.
Yeah.
Right? We still got the cryptic tweet. I will say this. Everybody is praising AJ for standing up, speaking his truth, and this and that and the other. I would say this. Then do that all the time. Yesterday, I spoke about mixed messaging. Like, don't send out cryptic tweets. If you're standing on business and that's how you feel, and you feel, because when you stand there and say, I'm not apologizing for what I said and this is how I feel, okay, then you felt this way several other times and you sort of left cryptic tweets out there only to come back and say, no, that's not what I'm talking about, or this, that, and the other. When clearly this has been an issue for you dating back to last year and probably dating back to 2023. It's been an issue for you. Jalen is the same quarterback he's always been. He just is. And either you're going to support a teammate as he's working through some of these issues to try to get the offense to be more consistent and more sustainable, or you're somewhat separating yourself and saying, hey, man, this offense stinks. Get me the ball more.
It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah, because everybody's working. The offensive line is working. They're trying to do better in blocking and run blocking, pass blocking. Like, they're all trying to get it together. They're all working. We know it's not perfect. They're all working. What if somebody came out on the defense and criticized
CB2?
The other cornerback out there? Hey, listen, we can't stop anybody, man. We got to do a better job. This ain't our standard around here. Like, nobody else is doing this. And so I would say this real quick.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
I would say this for everybody that sort of feel AJ is in the right. This isn't going to change. Do you think they're all of a sudden going to say, get AJ the ball at all cost? They're not. They put together these game plans every week, and AJ's a part of them. But they're putting together a game plan that suits the offense and what's best for the offense, not one individual player. And like Coach Sirianni said yesterday, being risk-averse and not forcing the ball and all these types of things, he flexed his muscles. He said, you've been pretty damn successful at doing it the way we're doing it. I don't see that changing. He just told you right there. We've been successful doing this the way that we've been doing it. Jalen tells you, I've been successful doing it this way. You have to get used to doing it Jalen's way. This is the way I'm going to play the quarterback position. I don't see anything changing. So you have to accept that and roll with it like a lot of us have. I've given up on this argument over where he should be ranked at. This is what he is. And I'll accept the winning. I'll accept the clutch performance. I'll accept the thick skin to not fall victim to us in the media at times, or this and that and the other, get baited in the question. He doesn't get caught in the nonsense. Jalen is what I'm saying. I'll accept all of those things as well as accepting he may not be a prolific passer. I'll accept that because I know what I'm getting in exchange. I'm getting playoffs every year. I'm getting winning football. I've gotten the 2 trips to the Super Bowl and a Super Bowl victory. Why would I change anything that I've been doing the way that I've been doing it? And the Eagles, as an offensive philosophy, don't look like that's changing to me.
No.
It's not going to change. And the quarterback isn't going to play any different. He may have some up days, some days he don't throw for us as much. But ultimately, he's the same quarterback.
And we've seen it for two straight years now. Yeah. 215-592-9494. Two other quick things. And just to my original point and something you said, we all know the offensive line isn't playing well. Yep. We all know it. Yep. We all know that Saquon Barkley is not having as good a year in great part because the offensive line is not playing well. If Saquon Barkley, after every single game, said out loud on Twitch streams and Instagram, man, offensive line's holding me back. That's my truth. It's correct.
Not blocking as well as we were last year.
Not blocking well. It ain't me. They got to find opportunities for me to get more space. Mm-hmm. We would all be like, enough, Saquon. Yeah. But we don't see Saquon doing that. So that's nothing that he is saying publicly. Again, this doesn't change, to your point, it doesn't change who the quarterback is. It doesn't change what the offense is. It just makes AJ feel better at the expense of all of this. Right? Of all of the division between fans, of Nick Sirianni having to answer questions about it, Jalen Hurts having to answer questions about it. It just doesn't, whether he is correct about it or not, I just don't think it doesn't matter. That's not what we're talking about. We all agree they wish you could throw the ball more. We all agree. Yeah, sure. It would be great. It would be awesome. But he probably wishes you were faster.
Yeah. I mean, right?
I don't know. I mean, what would we say? What would everybody who was saying AJ's right say? Okay, if you're saying AJ's right, what if Jalen stood up on that dais after a game and said, you know what? If the wide receiver was able to create a little more space, if he was a little faster, maybe I'd be able to get him the ball. Would he be correct? Probably. Would he be right to say it? No, because AJ can't just be faster because Jalen wants him to, just like Jalen can't just become some prolific passer because AJ wants him to. That it's like it is like selfish. And man, I've said this 100 times. I would love to be Team AJ on this. I agree. I would love to be able to throw the ball more, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah,
and
I don't. The problem that I had with yesterday mostly is that this is convenient placed outrage. They won a game 10-7. Everybody's frustrated about the offense. So now you can conveniently say this because a lot of people are going to agree with you. The problem is that you've done it when you've gotten the ball, when you've scored touchdowns, when the team wins. And I'm sorry, I know he said it's not about winning. It's not about just winning. From my perspective, yeah, it is. From the head coach's perspective, yeah, it is. Because in the end, that's all that's going to matter. All these people that want AJ to get the football, we lose in the playoffs in the first round, and we're going home. I don't think we're celebrating AJ's catches and touchdowns.
No, probably not.
So winning is the thing that matters the most, and that's why we accepted last year, because they won.
And everybody was happy.
And everybody was happy. And they're 7-2 right now with the best record in the NFC, but here we are.
Well, by the way, he talks about
here we are.
He talks about how bad the offense has been and how bad the passing offense has been. Jalen had a perfect passer rating.
Yes.
And then they put up 38 points.
Yes.
The week after.
Yes.
So I understand last week, but he's not.
That's why I said it's that game is 10-7.
Well, remember, he wasn't part of the Giants game.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And he wasn't the leading receiver in the Vikings game,
See.
And last thing,
Yeah.
and then we'll go to the phones. 215-592-9494. One of the biggest issues in this thing getting settled is, I think, part of the reason that AJ is talking to us, which is what he's doing by putting it on social media and Twitch is because he doesn't talk to the quarterback, and the quarterback doesn't talk to him because they don't like each other. And everyone who denies that, aside from Brandon Graham coming on our air saying that they're not friends anymore, if that wasn't enough for you, every time that AJ has asked about communicating with Jalen directly, he answers about them meeting as a group. Every time that Jalen is asked about AJ and communicating with him directly, he answers about meeting as a group. They deflect it every single time. And I bring you back to what Travis Kelce said when we put on the New Heights podcast. It was several weeks ago, just about when he is not in a groove. He is not in a groove with Mahomes. He goes over. He and Mahomes talk about it. They talk about it in practice. They talk about it during the game. But these two don't. So whatever chemistry that should be there between a quarterback and a wide receiver is not there. Yeah. And I think Jason Avant said this earlier this week. When you're trying to make a final call, a risky final call on a play, the fact that you and he are not really on the same page makes that final call a little bit harder to make.